Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us, as always, via Skype is Rob. How you doing, Rob?
Hello, folks. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I'm not too bad.
And what's that? Because I'm in a different location than normally today, Rob. I am seeing my parents down in Dorset, so I've had to kind of move the studio down there. I don't know, what's the weather like down where you are? Because it has been glorious down here today.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, 17 degrees,
That's
sunshine.
depressing. Oh, well, fuck that. It's currently overcast. It's about 12 degrees and it's slightly drizzly.
Well, I've had a lovely day. I felt like I've been on holiday because we went to a place called Milford-on-Sea. It's about a 20-minute drive away, and it is absolutely stunning. And I have had a very nice pub lunch in an absolutely amazing pub. And so I'm nicely full right now. You know that feeling like you've just had a big meal. And yeah, living the life of Riley, really.
Yeah. Whereas I'm off today, so we're recording on Monday. What day is it? What's the date today? I don't even know. Is it 8th of April today?
It is the 8th of April we're recording on, Rob. That's correct.
Yeah. So I've taken the day off work because I had some leave to take. And so all I've done today is watched a few videos on YouTube. I've gone swimming.
Yeah.
And I went to Morrison's to get a meal deal. And that's about the extent of my day.
Lovely.
Oh, I've done some ironing as well.
And what sandwich did you get from Morrison's? Assuming you did get a sandwich, Rob.
No, I went to the they do like a salad bar, so I got a salad bar.
Well, you ate in?
No, they do like takeaway tubs, so you have a choice of small, medium, and large, and then you can put you in like obviously salad and pasta and couscous and stuff like this.
So I'm getting the feeling, Rob, that today was like your healthy day. You decided to have a salad and go swimming. Am I right?
Well, I'm trying. I weighed myself this morning and realised that I've put a few pounds on, and I felt I needed to do something.
Yeah. What, do you want to say what you weigh on air?
I don't mind. I mean, I'm not exactly obese. I'm 11 stone and 1 ounce. No, 11 stone and 1 pound, not ounce.
But that's not a lot, is it?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, but I'm not the tallest guy in the world, so it could have I don't think it puts me into sort of a different category in terms of my BMI. But yeah, BMI, is that right?
Body mass index. Yeah, we're straying
BMI,
really from local news, aren't we? The topic of local news to talk about
Slightly.
your weight. Well, okay. Well, but the point is, Rob, you've tried to have a healthy day.
Yeah, I'm trying, and then I tend to open a bottle of wine later and forget the evening.
Yeah, well, but you've done your bit. You've done your bit in the day. And what was I going to say? I was going to say I've got bad news, Rob. And that bad news is you wanted me to learn a song on the recorder.
Yeah.
And the problem is I forgot to bring the recorder with me to Dorset. But obviously, I mean, I learnt to play it note perfect, obviously, because I am.
Is that true,
recorder.
or are you lying to the
I'm a professional
listeners?
Recorder player, as you know, Rob. I mean, obviously, it's very easy for me to do. But I haven't brought the recorder, so I think you're going to have to get a recorder and do it, as you suggested.
I mean, when are you going to be back?
It's who knows, Rob.
So what's actually happened is you've gone away, you haven't learnt the song, and you've just tried to palm it off onto me. Is that right, Alex?
Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I've just done that bit. I think we should crack on, Rob, because we are,
sure.
You know, it's wasted time, this. But it does mean that I won't be able... I can't believe this. What this means, Rob, is that it's only... 7 days or something like that to my one-man show at the Royal Albert Hall, Blow My Recorder, and I won't be able to play people a track from my album this week.
I mean, I'm sure that the listeners will undoubtedly be disappointed by that. But you know, if nothing else, they have it just prepares them for the grand performance at the Albert Hall on the 17th,
which is invitation only. Rob, do you have any news?
Podcast-related news? It's been quite quiet. No,
it's the second week in a row you're saying there's nothing.
No, I mean, both Steve and I have been tweeting Bargain Booze to see if they'd be willing to sponsor us, and so far they haven't returned our tweets.
Bargain who?
Bargain Booze.
Is that an alcohol company?
It is, yeah. So it's
why?
Why
did you? What got you onto Bargain Booze? I feel like I'm missing a joke I'm not part of, despite being the co-host of the podcast.
No, I don't think so. I think I'm just feeling that they kind of represent our brand. I mean, yes, they had a few issues in terms of almost going into receivership, but I feel that with their backing, we could really go places.
Um, did you tweet Paul Merton?
No, I didn't. And the reason being is I don't think he's on Twitter.
Oh, there must be some way to contact the man. Have a look him up. He'll have a website. He'll have a contact thing.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
I can't
Yeah.
imagine he is on Twitter.
No, I did some background research and I can't find any mention that he has a Twitter account. So,
Well, Rob, let's get on with it. I have an incredibly relevant story to kick us off with, right? Because this story, right? So basically, I went to this place today with my parents called Milford-on-Sea, which is absolutely stunning. Basically, you can when you look out over the sea, you can see the Isle of Wight. You're directly opposite it, if you know what I mean. To give you a picture.
so Milford-on-Sea.
It's called Milford-on-Sea. It's absolutely gorgeous. Basically, it's where Hurst Castle is, Rob.
Okay, I've never heard of it.
Hurst Castle. It was built by Henry VIII to sort of fortify Britain, I guess. It's very
Okay.
famous. Hurst.
I mean, it just typifies.
H-U-R-S-T.
This typifies Middle England. That I don't know why. There's something about the
Not in
name
Middle England, I'm on the
Milford-on-Sea.
south coast.
Yeah, I know. That's my point.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's quite a nice salubrious area, if you know what I mean. You know, it's different class of people, Rob.
Yeah,
Put
absolutely.
it this way: forget whether they're Asda people or waitress people. There are no supermarkets. That kind of place.
You're right.
So-
Okay. It's all Ocado delivery and nothing else.
I've got no idea how they get. I've no idea how they get their food. But anyway, the point is that as we were walking, my dad told me about a story which broke yesterday about something that had happened in this area, which I was able to look up real time and find a story that happened only 24 hours ago in the area that I was in, involving an ice cream van that I happened to pass in that area. So
Right.
this is a story, and it was covered by the Daily Mail, which is where my dad saw it, to his shame. But I've also found the local news equivalent. It's from a local newspaper called the Advertiser and Times, which covers places like Lymington, Milford, those kinds of places. And the headline, it's by Ros Waters, by the 5th of April. Rival frozen out as Cold War whipped up between ice cream sellers, Rob. So rival frozen out as Cold War whipped up between ice cream sellers.
Right. Okay.
And the Daily Mail went with Cold War breaks out at a seaside ice cream seller, and it continues on a headline from there. But Cold War seems to have been a theme there, going with the sort of cold-related puns, I guess.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way.
So this is a story. A popular Milford beauty spot was at the centre of a Cold War after rival ice cream traders went head-to-head on a sunny afternoon. Despite operating her ice cream business at New Lane in Keyhaven for 6 years, Debbie Head was shocked when another vendor set up shop in her path last Sunday.
So hang on. Is this some sort of turf war between ice cream sellers?
Yep. The two in question, she has an ice cream van called Mr. Softy, and he has an ice cream van called Mr. Whippy.
Again, I mean, I understand that that it relates to the consistency of the ice cream, but neither of those sound appealing.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And you would not want to actively buy ice cream from either of those.
Well, I saw her Mr. Softy van today. Well, no, because
Did
apparently
you?
her ice cream
Did
is
you?
very good.
Did you report it?
It's New Forest ice cream, Rob. It's very good. But there was Tom and Jerry on the back of her van, very well drawn and painted. Because one thing that is universally true amongst all ice cream vans in Britain is copyright infringement. It just goes with the territory.
Of course it does, yeah. We all know that. It's an established fact.
The Disney ones are the best because I often find that those are very crudely drawn. The Mickey Mouse, they don't look quite right.
You're right. And I've always wondered whether that is to try and avoid copyright. The fact that they never... For me, it's always the noses. They never quite get the Mickey Mouse's nose right, and so he looks like he's had some sort of industrial accident.
Well, I just thought that her having Tom and Jerry on the back of her van was fitting because what's going on between these two ice cream sellers is very Tom and Jerry. So basically, Debbie told the Advertiser and Times that, this is her quote, "There's an unwritten rule amongst street traders that you don't just turn up and start trading on an existing patch, Rob. I have run my business at Keyhaven for the last 6 years, and we can trace the previous owners of the business back at least 50 years. Debbie was tipped off that another ice cream vendor had been trading from her New Lane patch while she was on holiday. So basically, she went skiing for 2 weeks, and when she came back, she found a rival van in her usual spot."
Brilliant.
So they're opportunistic, obviously.
What did she expect, Alex? I mean, these things happen.
She said, "I left..." some of these quotes are interesting. I don't know how relevant they are. She says, I left a successful career as a driving instructor to carry on this business when the last owner was selling up. I invested a lot of time and money in it. I just want you to think, Rob, about the profile of a person who goes from being a driving instructor to an ice cream van seller. I think they're both unusual jobs, personally.
They are, yeah. I must admit, I can't imagine how anyone's falling into being a driving instructor unless they just have
Deviants really do that job, don't they? Yeah? People
I'm
who
not
want to
gonna
be a
agree one
law
way or
unto
another.
themselves.
Well, no, because I wouldn't say that's necessarily true. Because obviously they're trying to teach people how to drive. It's not like they're teaching them bad habits. I mean, some of them might be. I don't know.
I'm not about that kind of deviance. I'm saying, what kind of person enjoys? Look, the sort of person who wants to be a
Sexual
driving
deviance.
instructor enjoys being in the small confines of a car with basically young people.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah. I mean, they're probably doggers. Let's be honest.
She says, "I'm a local person." This is.
Can I just
yeah?
before you move on? Can I just say, surely going from being a driving instructor to becoming an ice cream vendor, I'm not sure how you
Involves a reduce in pay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that's a massive drop in terms of salary.
I'm not sure. Well, she says, Robin, in a very Little Britain quote, I'm a local person serving locally made New Forest ice cream, and I use local traders for my van needs. She should be the sponsor of Local Anaesthetic.
I don't want people like that sponsoring the podcast.
Why can't we have sponsored by Mr. Softy?
Because it sounds. Come on, let's be honest. It
You want it
sounds like
sponsored by Bargain Booze.
it sounds like an impotent drug.
Impotence drug, yeah.
Yeah,
Debbie
Mr. Soft.
says-
I mean, obviously, you.
Rob, listen to Debbie.
Okay.
Debbie says there's not enough trade at Keyhaven to sustain 2 ice cream vans and feels it's unfair for another vendor to cherry pick the sunny weekend days. She said, I know lots of the locals and I feel like I'm part of the community. My children were at school in Milford and I have a long association with the village. As well as selling ice creams, Debbie also provides information on Hurst Castle, runs an unofficial lost property service. Are you taking that in, Rob? So she provides information on
properties.
an unofficial lost property service, and has often helped out with blankets and first aid when people are hurt near her van. She says, Rob, I keep my prices competitive so I can provide local people with a service as well as holidaymakers. Sometimes during the week I'll be there for hours with hardly any trade, but you have to take the rough with the smooth. I've been asked if I can do events and weddings, but I won't do anything like that because I feel it's important to provide a service at Keyhaven. Unfortunately, this particular article hasn't actually commented on the major points of the story, which means I have to turn to the Daily Mail version.
Alex, this woman is delusional. What service does she think she's providing to the locals?
But what does any of this have to do with healthy competition? Why can't another? What is there in law to say another ice cream van can't turn up? This is competition, and she can't take it.
I think I can kind of understand what she means. Obviously, she's having to diversify because the ice cream. I mean, surprisingly, the ice cream trade isn't that lucrative. And also, when she says she's an unofficial lost property, does that mean she's either just finding items that people have left after they've finished for the day, or is she actively stealing off people
and then reselling it?
Yeah.
I think she should operate a pawn shop style business from the ice cream van.
What, selling dirty mags?
Nah, pawn, Pawn.
Oh, I see, right. Although, something else to consider as well.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, Rob, so unfortunately, as I said, this missed out one of the crucial details of the story, i.e. the really funny bit of the story. So basically what happened was this. When she returned home from her skiing holiday, she spent a morning cleaning her Mr. Softy, not a euphemism, ice cream van, before driving to the spot where she had traded in 2013. So basically, when she saw this other guy was there, Mr. Whippy, and I've got a picture of this, what she decided to do, Rob, was pull up directly next to the rival van, completely blocking his hatch from potential customers.
I mean,
I'm looking at a picture, so she is literally parked. There's probably about 20 centimetres between the two vans. So literally, she's just blocked off any customers being able to go to his van.
So I would argue that she started this turf war by doing that.
Well, apparently, Mr. Whippy, Rob, stayed in his van for 2 hours while she did this, and nobody was coming to his van, so he left.
I'm sorry, but as I said before, that's a real dick move.
Well, it is a real dick move, but a lot of people said, why didn't he just inch forward a couple of feet?
I
must
admit. I mean, if it was me, I would have just drove around the other side of her and just parked directly in front of her hatch.
Well, yeah. No,
And maybe they just kept doing that. They just go further out to sea.
Now, Rob, there were
Problem
75
solved.
comments on this in the Daily Mail. I have an episode title if you want one.
Okay, go on.
I mean, it is an episode title. It's just nailed on. It might as well say episode title in bold above it. It's from Dowfinger, who apparently is in Harnia in Greece. Crete, as it is. This is the episode title, surely, Rob. Overpriced sweet frothy shaving cream.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I think so. And I'm not going to read all these, but I did like this comment by Real Diver. Apparently, he just says, pair of mugs, get a real job, sad fools.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that it's a valid point.
I mean, it is. I mean, I guess there's something to me that's. I don't really associate ice cream drivers with women, I'll be honest. The ones I've always encountered have been men. And
Yeah,
I've always associated that job with something very depressing and quite sad. Like, I don't know, there's something about that. It's like being a clown, Rob. You know when you visualise the guy who gets up in the morning, puts on the clown shoes, puts on the paint, goes off to work in his suitcase, with his suitcase on or whatever, to the next children's party. There's something about imagining somebody getting up in the morning, getting in the van, that moment they switch on the music and the jingly music, and it probably cuts through their nerves, and they have to go and find drum up business from kids looking for ice cream. There's something very depressing about it. I feel depressed even talking about it.
yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, first of all, I feel that I should defend clowns. being a fellow creative, it can take years to become an actual clown. It's not just about putting on the makeup. I mean, I've seen people who have trained for years. So I don't want you to denigrate that profession. However, in comparison to the ice cream men, who I feel that, as you rightly say, get up in the mornings, put on usually a stained white T-shirt and go and sell ice creams or other sorts of confectionery to school children. Yes, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's something about, like, if you had a kid, what does your dad do? He's an ice cream man. I think there's something quite sinister about it, and I'm sorry, I'm going to just say that there is something a bit sinister.
Okay. I mean, yes, I can understand where you're coming from, but I do feel that we need to just make it clear that in no way reflects the whole ice cream profession, and I'm sure that there are very noble ice cream professionals out there who do a sterling job in their communities.
Fine. My next story, Rob. Moving on. I asked my girlfriend this week. I said to her while I was down in Dorset, I said, I'm struggling a bit for stories, or I haven't found some. And can you find any stories? And to her credit, she did find me quite a few. And I'm wondering how exactly she came across them, but find them she did. And this one I loved. It's from Reuters. Sorry.
Yep.
Back in February the 13th, by Matthew Stock. And I hadn't heard about this, but Tinder for cows, Rob, matches livestock in the mood for love.
No, I hadn't heard about this either. Oh, what the fuck?
A Tinder-inspired app is helping farmers match up potential partners for their cattle. Called Tudder, get it?
Brilliant.
Tudder, a mix of
Yep.
dating app Tinder and Udder. We didn't need that explaining, but thank you. It lets farmers swipe right on the cattle they like the look of. See, to me, Rob, I can see, obviously, there's potential for this, not just for farmers, isn't there?
Yeah,
Anybody
my
who's looking
concern
for a cow wife.
But also, I mean, has he had a conversation with the cow in question? How does he know what his cow is looking for in another cow? Because ultimately, this is based on his personal preferences, surely.
So what you're saying then is any farmer who match. Are you saying, Rob? And I think you are. I feel you're intimating this. Are you saying that any farmer who finds a match for his cow is basically projecting his own fancies and desires onto his own cow, and actually it's him that's actually attracted to that cow that he's picked out?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I agree with you. So basically, this is an app masquerading as something that that can be used for sort of, I don't know, farmers for legitimate purposes, but it's really an app for people who secretly have fetishes about cows to swipe through lots of pictures of cows with tasty udders.
Exactly, absolutely. And if we go back to the conversation about deviants, we now have 3 categories. We have driving instructors, ice cream sellers, and farmers.
Well, absolutely. That's the trifecta there of deviants. Can I say the trifecta of deviants is a very good album title. Can I just say, So once you've chosen your cow, you're directed to a page on the Sell My Livestock website where you can browse more pictures and data about the animal before deciding whether to buy. Valuable information is available, Rob, on matters like milk yield and
Yeah.
protein content or calving potential. Oh, that's a bit sick, that one, calving potential. Explained Doug Barnier, CEO of Hectare Agritech, which runs Sell My Livestock.
I mean, what's wrong with carving potential?
Just carving potential. I'm assuming carving potential means once you've cooked it up, how well is it going to carve up?
Carving, as in to be able to rear
Oh,
calves.
yeah, you're correct. Sorry, I thought it was carving.
You maniac! What
I
are you
misread it
talking
as
about?
carving potential. I was like, yeah, just want to be a bit
How
tough.
are they going to know? How are they going to know whether a cow is succulent to calve?
Poke it.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, fine.
Not like that. Okay, there we go. That shows why I should read the story properly. Matching livestock online is even easier than it is to match humans, apparently, Rob. This is a quote, because there's a huge amount of data that sits behind these wonderful animals that predicts what their offspring will be. Launching just in time for Valentine's Day, the makers of Tudder, is this an April Fool? No, it isn't. Believe it's the first ever matchmaking app for livestock. As with the human equivalent, farmers use smartphones to first choose whether they're looking for male or female, swiping through photos, right for yes, left for no, until they find a match. Putting data at their fingertips connects farmers from all over the country, making trading easier. This is all manner of kinds of wrong, Rob.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree with that.
Cattle farmer and Tudder user James Bridger said it eases transport stress for animals and may rival traditional markets. I have to say that's also a bit odd, where you see the farmers at the cattle market leaning over the fence, ogling these cows.
Look, we know it goes on. You know, we've speculated many a time before, and yeah, it's not a surprise.
He says you've got all this data of its background and everything, which if you're at a market, you might not have had the time to go through every single random animal. And there's nothing better than seeing an animal in its home, in its natural habitat, rather than putting it on a lorry. If someone rings up and wants to come and have a look, or even getting it from the picture, it's ideal really from that respect, and they're happier for it. Sell My Livestock, Rob, has listed over £50 million worth of livestock, feed and bedding. See, because it comes with the bedding, so you're all ready for that romantic evening.
Okay, good to know.
Apparently, Sell My Livestock, Rob, dispels notions that farmers are stuck in the past.
It does, absolutely. You know, they're going online to find suitable partners for their cows, apparently.
Absolutely. Okay, last story here, Rob. I know you like a big cat story, Rob.
I do indeed, and I spotted one myself, but I already had a full complement of stories.
Good.
So go ahead.
This is by Helena Horton. And what paper do you think she writes for, Rob? Helena Horton. I'll give you a clue. It's not a local paper, so think of that name, Helena Horton. Where do you think she writes for?
Daily Express.
Telegraph, Rob.
Oh, I would say I'm close, but I mean, I think even by the Telegraph.
She's the kind of person I was hobnobbing with today in Milford.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
5th of April. This is the headline. Big cat on the loose in Cornwall, Rob, as paw print raises fears that 1970s myth may actually be true.
Oh my God. Again? Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
A big cat is no, Rob, but this is official. A big cat is on the loose in Cornwall, police have said. After they made a plaster cast of a paw print left in the garden where a family dog was mauled. Now what you got to say, Rob, because you never believe. Now do you believe?
Could it not just be another big dog?
Let's see. Police and the RSPCA, so they're in on the act, say the paw print is far too large to be that of a domesticated cat, leading some to believe the myth of the big cats roaming Dartmoor to be true. Now, it can't be a dog, Rob, because a dog has a different paw print than a cat.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. Yeah, I'll accept that.
It has been claimed, Rob, that 3 pumas were released onto the wilds of Dartmoor by the late Mary Chipperfield, the famous circus owner, after her zoo in Plymouth closed in 1978. Her husband has denied the claims. This is where this goes back to, Rob. So we're now talking about, presumably not these pumas, have survived until this day, but they've had offspring, Rob, and their offspring continue to roam the land.
That seems unbelievably irresponsible. I mean, it'd be amazing if that is the case, but surely some would have spotted some before. And also, if there are different generations, surely someone would have come across a carcass or a corpse by now, surely.
You're right, Rob. So I just wanted to say that on my mother's sort of desk upstairs where I'm sitting, I've just found just sitting there, a dead ladybird. It really is rock hard now. It's just there on the desk. Dead
Be
ladybird.
careful, Alex. Apparently, ladybirds have STIs. That was another story I read today.
Hey, I've just been touching it. Really?
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah, just be careful.
Sounds like bollocks, Rob. Were you reading that on April the 1st?
No, I read that
Rob,
today.
you
That
all
was
remember that podcast where you read out a story as if it was real and were fooled, and you actually read out an April Fool's, the Benedict Cumberbatch story being made out of chocolate. Remember when
Alex, that was true.
Yeah, I know, I remember that. Yeah. I was made to look fooled
just wanted...
that day. Anyway.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that.
If anybody would like a Cumberbatch made out of chocolate, go and see a psychiatrist. That's disgusting. But anyway, there have been reports of big cats on the prowl around Dartmoor for years, and now dogs in the area, Rob, are facing mysterious injuries. Officials have confirmed the prints, measuring almost 5 inches, are that of a big cat. And police say, you want to hear the police quote?
Yeah, absolutely.
Something has been here which should not be.
That's great, quote, and also very, very vague.
Yeah, it doesn't really commit to it being a big cat, does it?
No,
James Stevenson from the Cornwall village of Callington, close to Dartmoor, raised the alarm after his dog Marley was found with bleeding claw marks on its shoulder. He said he saw a large cat prowling near his garden and thinks this is the beast that mauled his pet. The 23-year-old added he was covered in blood. He had a big, deep gash on his front leg and one between his toes. On his left shoulder was a big black claw mark, as if a muddy claw had scraped down the side of him. He's not interested in going out in the garden at night now. He loves his garden, and now, Rob, he can't bear it. The RSPCA said it had probably already caught something and was eating it in our garden, and that's why it didn't take Marley. It was just protecting its food when it took him down. It's very speculative from the RSPCA. They're saying that a big cat found something in the garden, and the reason it didn't eat the dog was because it was protecting its own food, and that's why it scratched him. I mean, there's a lot of leaps there.
Alex, look, this is the RSPCA. We know from past experience they'd be all over this. And
would they? They weren't hyping up the Croydon cat killer, were they? I don't think.
No, but that's not interesting. This is a big cat, Alex. This could make
put them on the map.
Career. Exactly. Yeah, they would happily just toss out these random speculations.
Officers from Devon and Cornwall Police came to inspect the scene and took a cast of the large paw print left in his garden. A spokesperson said an officer attended the property and located the footprints in the garden. We called the RSPCA for advice, always a mistake, and took a cast of the print which they confirmed was a pad of a large cat.
I love the idea that the police turned up and just we're literally going to do nothing. But the RSPCA were insistent they should do something, so begrudgingly they took a cast. Ultimately, they turned up and went, look, do we have to investigate this?
Maybe. I can imagine that. But they did ring the RSPCA. And
exactly. They were passing the buck.
Over the years, Rob, there have been a number of similar reports across Devon and Cornwall. There is no evidence that such animals represent a danger to humans, the RSPCA says. It's highly likely they would avoid human contact and only represent a danger if they were trapped. If any animal is sighted, it should not be approached. An RSPCA spokesman said, the RSPCA has been contacted about a suspected big cat sighting in Harrowbarrow, Cornwall, last week. What a lovely name, Harrowbarrow. Our officer attended after reports that a Labrador had been scratched by a large black cat. Thankfully, the dog is fine, although he has scratch marks, and the owner is taking precautions to keep an eye on the dog in case of further sightings. We'll continue to monitor the situation. Now, this was also reported, Rob, in the Daily Mirror. And, of course, the Mirror gave us more source because I've got a picture of Marley, who looks very sad, Rob, and he's got a plaster on him where he was cut.
Well, of course, he's been attacked by an alleged big cat. I mean, would you not be sad if that had happened to you?
Yeah, I would. I'm just reading to see. So James said, the owner says, over the last couple of weeks, we've seen this large black cat walking down the back wall of the field at the back of our garden. We've not paid much attention because they normally shy away from humans. It got our attention most when we were out in the garden last Thursday night. Marley is a rescue dog, so now he has almost an acre of garden, where before he lived in a confined space. He loves his garden. So basically, he saw his agile dog suddenly take off at a distance of 20 feet away, he saw his dog was suddenly taken down to the floor, and he thought Marley had tripped on something and hurt himself. But when he got there, he was covered in blood and had a great big deep gash on him. He's a very cute dog, Rob.
I think you're getting drawn into the story, Alex. I think you're buying it. I'm still on the fence here.
Well, what you're just saying, Rob, a larger than average cat doesn't have a paw print of 5 inches.
No, that's true.
So what's your explanation?
But,
We've got a plaster cast here.
Alex, there are plenty of other animals out there that have talons. It could have been a falcon.
Yeah, but what left? Okay, but that's
Who knows?
equally as ludicrous. Okay, so why? Okay. So why did they get a 5-inch paw print?
This is pure speculation.
That you're not going to
How
say
do we
the owner
know?
put it. The owner what constructed this paw print deliberately, gashed his own dog just to get in the papers.
No, I wasn't going to suggest that. I was going to suggest that maybe, I'm not sure if the owner had found the paw print. Maybe the RSPCA, once they've been called, had turned up and suddenly discovered this paw print that no one else had seen in the garden. That's all I'm saying.
You want to retract that?
Allegedly. Does that cover us?
Just about. Okay, Rob, you got some stories for us there.
Yeah, I've got 2 stories, however, I think for the first story, I'm going to let you choose which one you'd like to hear, if that's okay.
Choose which one I'd like to hear.
So,
I thought we haven't done this in a while. Choose.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So, choose which one goes first, or
No,
I choose
so-
one and the other one gets jettisoned?
yeah, exactly that. So, yeah, you choose one and the other one gets jettisoned, and I may review it later.
You save it
but-
for next week.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, go on.
Right. So, the first story
Multiple
is
choice. Okay.
the first story is an update on Julian Assange. And the second story is 5 things you didn't know about Noel Edmonds.
Oh, why are you making me choose? Why can't we do both?
Because I've been debating between the two. Because I'm really happy with my second story to follow up. But I thought I'd give you the choice. I mean, I'm happy to do one next week and one this week.
Oh, you absolute bastard. Okay, I want the Noel Edmonds story next week because it will still be relevant. But I do want an update on Julian Assange because I very much enjoyed the last story you read out about him.
Okay.
I mean, do you want to just remind us what the last story was about?
Yeah, so
Basically about how he was treating the place as a DOS house, wasn't it?
yeah, I mean he's literally acting like a surly teenager, and he's because obviously they've restricted his internet privileges, which I find hilarious, and he's refusing to do his own laundry, clean up after his cat, and he's skating. He's not skating, skateboarding.
Wasn't he skateboarding down
Yeah.
the?
Down the Ecuadorian
Had
embassy.
they asked him to leave or something, and he'd refused the last time or something?
No, not yet. I think they were on the verge of it. Yeah, I think they are. I mean, I think they're even close to that now. I think it's only a matter of time before he gets kicked out.
Come on then, Rob. Where are we now then?
Right, so this is as of last Wednesday. I haven't got the date in front of me. But the story I've taken is from Gizmodo. It is originally from Reuters by Matt Novak. And the headline, Julian Assange accused of leaking President of Ecuador's private family photographs. I love this story.
I don't either like a dysfunctional relationship. I don't understand it. The Ecuadorian embassy took him in to give him kind of immunity, as it were.
Yeah.
He's been a complete
Dick
the whole time.
Yep.
And why have they never just kicked him out? Is it because do they get something out of him being there? Is it publicity for Ecuador? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know how this benefits them. I really can't understand why. I mean, it was obviously a very kind thing that they did, but I don't know why they still put up with it.
Okay, come on and tell me what happened.
So, Ecuador's president, Lenin Moreno, has accused Julian Assange of violating the terms of asylum and leaking private photographs of Moreno's family and friends online in the latest dust-up between the WikiLeaks founder and his increasingly frustrated hosts. Speaking to the Ecuadorian Radio Broadcast Association, Moreno suggested that Assange had been intercepting the president's private messages and had even leaked photos of my bedroom, what I eat, and how my wife and daughters and friends dance.
So why had he done this? Why did he leak them?
I've no idea. Doesn't say.
Right.
I think just because he can. According to the Associated Press, Moreno repeatedly provided no evidence of the hacking. So Assange has been holed up in the Ecuadorian embassy in London since he jumped bail on the sexual assault charges from Sweden in 2012. These charges have since been dropped over a technicality, but Assange still considers himself a prisoner in the embassy despite the fact he's free to leave at any time.
Well, that was it. Who does he say is keeping him in prison? Not the Ecuadorian embassy, but it's us because we'll arrest him as soon as he steps out the door.
Yeah, exactly that. He so as it goes on to say, because basically he fears extradition to the US.
Can I just say about Julian Assange, right? I used to, right back when all this first started, I used to think I was more like on his side, and it's become clear over time that he is a dick.
Yeah.
And that WikiLeaks are probably quite suspicious in some of the stuff they get up to. But he needs to stop being a pussy here, don't you think?
He just needs to leave. I mean, if he's not happy there,
What I
just
mean, if you're
fuck
going to
off.
be arrested and fight your case in a court of law. Don't basically hold yourself up. He hasn't been out, Rob, in how many years now?
So he's been there since 2012. So he's been there 7 years.
He might. So has it occurred to him yet that he might as well have just served time in prison?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I don't think it has. But then, I don't know. I mean, I've no idea how luxurious the Ecuadorian embassy is. But I mean, yes, okay, he's effectively living under house arrest, but of his own making. I mean, they're not keeping him there.
And does he pay rent or something? Because it'd be I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd like to live sort of with all your meals provided and everything else for 7 years. I just don't understand why. The whole situation is rather confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I don't know why either party persists with it. It doesn't make any sense.
I've just got this image that he's like a teenager, like he's kind of lost his mind as he's been there. So he's got the room that they've given him.
Yeah.
Like when you walk in there, it's covered with like posters of boy bands and smash hits and that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's
I love that. He's got to take that duvet.
Yeah.
And they've given like really retro technology because obviously this man is obviously quite an intelligent individual, but they've given him like a tape deck.
Yeah, and there's a lot of scrunched up tissues on the floor.
Yes, yeah. It's just a bedroom filled with posters from FHM and smash hits, nothing else.
Yeah.
The Whitehead. No, this is Gizmodo, by the way. If no one reads Gizmodo, I love their style of writing. The Whitehead shitstirrer also claims that he's been silenced because his internet access in the embassy was abruptly cut off a year ago. Officials from Ecuador accused Assange of meddling in international politics.
They were trying to like smoke him out, as it were, by cutting off. Do you know what I mean? Like you want your guests to leave, so cut off internet access, and hopefully they get so sick of it that they leave of their own volition.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly that. And I think the other suggestion which the article says that apparently they were concerned that he was meddling with international relations. So in some way, because we know that obviously he's been quite a vocal supporter of Trump and so on. So they were concerned that obviously he's doing. Yeah, as far as I know, I'm sure that's right.
I didn't know that. Julian Assange has supported Trump.
I'm sure I've read that. It might seem saying this article. I should say that. Yeah, WikiLeaks often tweets far right talking points, and Assange has proved to be an unlikely ally of
authoritarian.
Thank you. Minded leaders across the road, like President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Assange has repeatedly turned down dirt on the government of Russia, and the WikiLeaks Twitter account exchanged DMs with President Sun. Oh yeah, because that was it. Yeah, because obviously Roger Stone was in contact with WikiLeaks.
Yeah. Oh God. Right. Okay.
What I love. So I'm just going to finish off with this. Assange's worldview, already strange by any normal human standards, has led to his behaviour becoming more and more bizarre the longer he stays in the embassy. As just one example, the WikiLeaks team released a statement this past January with confidential lists of things that journalists were forbidden from saying about Julian Assange. The list reads like the rantings of someone who's truly unhinged. So WikiLeaks put out this decree that journalists should not repeat these statements. So basically, they put a ban on these statements. Okay,
go on.
So it is false and defamatory to suggest that Julian Assange does not use cutlery or does not wash his hands. It is false and defamatory to suggest that Julian Assange lives or has ever lived in a basement, a cupboard, or under the stairs.
Is this serious? Rob,
yes.
This is unbelievable. This is a man who apparently believes so much in free speech, he believes that everything should be leaked, but yet he can't hack somebody saying something a bit derogatory about him.
I mean,
does he not understand the irony there?
I don't know, Alex. I really don't know.
But do you know what I mean? This is a man who believes in free speech but thinks journalists should be banned from saying certain things.
How would you be offended if a journalist said that there's been reports that he doesn't use cutlery or wash his hands?
I understand that, but the point I'm making is is that WikiLeaks is all about free speech,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Oh, in fact, yeah.
And he's
I see
saying
your point,
journalists should be
yeah.
banned from saying certain things. I mean, the irony is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, there's only two. There's only two left. It is false and defamatory to suggest that Julian Assange has ever played soccer or used a skateboard during weekdays or office hours at the embassy. Apparently, outside of office hours is fair game.
Yeah.
And the final one is false and defamatory to suggest that WikiLeaks or Julian Assange is tied or is close to the Kremlin.
Right. Well, no, there's nothing. I'm sorry. If somebody wants to assert that and has some evidence to back it up, they're completely within their rights to say it. This man's an idiot.
Absolutely. And but I mean, as the article states, this man is clearly losing his mind.
What's also weird, Rob, is that just close your eyes for a second. There is a slight resemblance, maybe more than slight, between Julian Assange and Noel Edmonds.
You're
Give Noel
absolutely
Edmonds
right.
white hair.
Yeah,
the
you're
two of them
absolutely
look
right.
quite similar.
Do you know what? I've never actually made that connection, but as time goes on, they both seem to be losing their grip on reality.
And have you ever seen them in the same room together?
Well, to be fair, I mean,
You've never seen Julian Assange or Noel Edmonds.
well, that, and also, I mean, it's a very convenient alter ego, isn't it? The fact that the one is locked away. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if there's a back door to the Ecuadorian embassy.
Not a euphemism.
No, not the euphemism, no. Right, so my second story. Now, I did hear about this on a podcast.
Can I just say Noel Edmonds and the back door to the Ecuadorian embassy is a brilliant
Yes, it is. Yeah. Because
That's a story I want to read.
It's quite enigmatic.
It really
suggests
is.
a lot.
But the one we had earlier was cracking as well. Anyway, go on.
And also, I think I can imagine Noel Edmonds would be very litigious.
Yeah, but you can have his name in an episode title.
Yeah, I suppose we're not inferring anything, are we?
No, I think we've said worse about Noel Edmonds on the podcast.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so as I said, this story was I did hear this on the podcast. Now, this story is a year old, so I apologise for that. But it's a great story. So this is from news.com.au. So it's the news network in Australia. It's by Frank Chung. And the headline. Man who claimed boss dubbed Mr. Stinky would lift his bum and fart on him, loses £1.8 million case.
Fucking hell. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, $1 million actually, to say. So that must be Australian dollar. But even so, that's quite a sizable chunk.
Yep.
So, a construction firm employee has claimed his former supervisor would regularly lift his bum and fart on him, has lost a 1.8...
Lift his what?
His bum.
What do you mean lift his bum?
Well, maybe...
Poke it up in the air?
Yeah, maybe elevate it off the chair or, that comical thing where, you just shift to one side so you can allow the
noxious gas
to... Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So who would regularly lift his bum and fart on him has lost a $1.8 million compensation case. Dave Hinkst sued Construction and Engineering, where he worked on an entry-level contract administrator between 2008 and 2009 for psychiatric and physical injury allegedly suffered as a result of being bullied in the workplace.
Well, it would. Okay, I'm going to wait to pass judgment.
Okay. So, after an 18-day trial in November before the Supreme Court of Victoria, Judge Rita Zammit last month dismissed the case, finding that even if the farting did occur, it would not necessarily amount to bullying.
Well, I don't know. If somebody's farting on me every day at work, that would be some kind of harassment. I don't know what. But...
Yeah, I agree with that. Mr. Hinks claims his former supervisor, Greg Short, started farting the day he returned to the head office and took a desk in the communal office space, and this progressed to the point where he would do it every day.
Do you think this man just happened to be quite flatulent and the other guy took real offence to this and began to believe it was sort of deliberate?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think that may have been the case. This man just may have been naturally quite gassy, and so just had to expel it everywhere in the office. And this guy, Mr. Hinks, then thought it was some sort of targeted attack.
I don't know if it was sort of psychosomatic, no, like sort of psychological there. But you reading this story, I did pass wind, Rob.
I must admit, I'm quite tempted as well. I don't know. There's something about it that really wants to make me fart. Anyway. So, Mr.
I think it's mainly because I had a carbonated beverage with my lunch. I had a can of Rio, Rob, tropical, which I haven't had in many years, and it was very nice.
It's facts like that, Alex, that really make this podcast.
Yeah.
Look, I don't recall doing it, but I may have done it once or twice. Maybe, Mr. Short told the court. But I don't recall. I don't recall doing so. And I'm not flat out saying I did or I didn't. I just don't remember doing it. And if he alleges I did, then I did. But Mr. Short denies he was doing it with the intention of distressing or harassing Mr. Hinks.
Yeah, this is my point. Yeah, this guy's got a flatulent co-worker. It doesn't mean that the person is it's not a systematic campaign of intimidation.
No. And also, yeah, I mean, possibly that, he may have done it once or twice, but who knows? The court then heard that the constant farting led Mr. Hinks to spray deodorant on Mr. Short and call him Mr. Stinky.
That's bullying in and of itself.
I agree. I think that's quite horrid, really.
Well, it's not horrid, Rob.
Well, Mr. Stinky, I think, this is his superior. It's disrespectful, Alex.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, look, here comes Mr. Stinky. What are you going to do? Fart on us again, you pervert? I mean, probably not call him a pervert. That'd be weird. The core of Mr. Hinks' bullying case was that Mr. Short, the former supervisor, Luke Papel, and company director Simon Baker were engaged in a conspiracy to marginalise him and terminate his employment. In particular, he claimed he would receive a phone call 5 or 6 times a week before he was made redundant, in which Mr. Shaw abused him about his work performance, allegedly telling him that he had fucked up, he kept fucking up, he was not worth shit, and he was not worth his salary.
Sorry, this is Mr. Short saying this to Mr. Hinks?
Yeah, apparently. So Mr. Hinks is alleging that his supervisor...
So why didn't he make that the core of his case, unfair dismissal, rather than this farting stuff?
I don't know. Who knows?
Do you know what I mean? Isn't that more serious?
You would think so, yeah, because I would say that's deliberate abuse. But apparently the farting was more offensive. Who knows? Mr. Hinks claimed in the background he could hear not a party but some sort of loud laughter, as if people were listening in the conversation and finding it humorous. The flatulent incidents were among a number of peripheral allegations, did not amount to bullying, but painted a picture of the working culture of the company, according to Mr. Hinks. Anyway, suffice to say, he lost the case.
Why did he lose?
Well, obviously the judge found that it wasn't bullying. So if you're being farted on by your work colleagues, we have to make it clear you're not being bullied.
Okay, Rob, if you want to go on record as saying that, fine.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Justice Samet has made this ruling. So,
well, you're saying it opens the floodgates now to people just being able to freely fart at work whenever they feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, people, Alex, in this day and age, people should be able to fart at work and not feel the repercussions.
Fine.
Or the vibrations, whichever.
Right, Rob, it is now time for our... That was fairly authentic, I think. Listener story of the week. I can't keep doing that. Who's it from, Rob?
So this week it is from Kyber.
Ah, okay.
Now, on previous episodes, we've often speculated that Kyber will go above and beyond, a lot like Steve, to try and find stories that people just would never in a lifetime be able to find. Now, first of all, Kyber, this story is 5 years old, which is fine because it's a great story. And so the story that Kyber sent us is actually from the Verge website. The story is by Amma Tor, which is a great name. And the headline: Nervous Chinese officials search pigeon anuses for bombs.
Yeah. That is a first for us, that headline, Rob.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a story featuring the phrase pigeon's anus.
No, it's not something that's come up.
I don't think I've ever read that those two words together. I don't think I've ever read in the history of my life or heard.
No, it's not something, it's one of these that you know that probably they have anuses. I think actually they have a cloaca, but I don't know. But do pigeons have a cloacas? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, it's not something I've ever actively thought about, if you know what I mean. So, officials in China this week, in 2014, examined the anuses of 10,000 pigeons.
Sorry, can you imagine that being your job?
No.
That guy's complaining about being fired on at work. Imagining being one of the team who searches, or is it 10,000 pigeon anuses?
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine just getting that email and just thinking, I need to leave. I need to leave this job.
Become an ice cream man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And No, that's a good question. Is this better or worse than being an ice cream man?
Well, better.
You didn't sound sure though. Yeah, it probably is better.
But again, the sort of person who'd be attracted to this job is also a deviant.
Yeah, that's fair. So, officials in China this week examined the anuses of 10,000 pigeons that were set to be released today in celebration of National Day. Which again just sounds like what could you not think of a better name than that?
So how is this a celebration? Or a celebratory event?
Well, it's a national. It's a national. So I'm guessing it's like.
So I'm getting confused. Are you saying on this day in China people search through pigeon names?
No.
Like searching for the Easter Bunny.
No, no. So the pigeons were due to be released, basically. So
I'm really confused. I think I need to listen to. I'll let you read the story, Rob, and I'm sure I'll work it out as we go along.
Amid government, so they're released in celebration of the National Day. Amid government,
the pigeons are released. Right,
yeah, the pigeons released. Yeah. What do you think were released? The anuses.
No, I don't know. No, the pigeons are released. Right? Why they got a finger that? What? Sorry, why they got to look through their anuses before doing that?
We'll come on to that.
To check they don't shit everywhere.
No, because amid government fears of a possible terrorist attack.
Are you telling me that China? So Chinese officials were worried that somebody had somehow inserted a bomb inside a pigeon.
Correct.
And decided that, rather than doing the obvious thing and just cancelling the event of releasing the pigeons, I know what we can do. We can have 10,000 pigeons searched via people sticking their fingers up pigeon anuses to root around inside, just in case there happens to be a bomb inside a pigeon.
Alex, we live in a day and age, unfortunately, where there is an imminent threat of terrorist attack, and so China were being very cautious. They had 10,000 pigeons. Who knows if someone interfered with these pigeons? I mean, we covered the pigeons, the rats last week. People were...
But they were dead. They were being hollowed out.
Yes, but these are flying targets. These could be like kamikaze pigeons.
How do you put a live bomb in a pigeon?
A dove, I should say, not pigeons. They're very different birds.
At the beginning... Sorry, are these doves that were released?
Oh, no, sorry. No, they were pigeons. Oh, that's strange. No, they were pigeons.
Doves are pigeons, by the way, Rob. You do know that.
Are they?
They're just white pigeons.
Fair,
yes.
fair.
So hang on a minute. I'm still confused. Rob, I want you to answer the question. How would you put a live bomb inside a pigeon?
Well, you'd obviously have to go via the rectum.
Yeah.
Maybe I think you'd have to obviously need a remote detonator.
It would have to be a tiny bomb, Rob. It would be hard enough to put a live bomb inside a human up their rectum, let alone a tiny pigeon.
Alex, but there were 10,000 of them. Just imagine if you had a small amount of TNT inserted to the rectum of birds, and somehow, you were able to divert that flock of pigeons into, I don't know, a shopping centre. That would cause a lot of carnage. So, according to reports from the state-run media outlets, the birds had their feathers, legs, and anuses searched for suspicious objects yesterday before being packed onto a truck and sent to Tiananmen Square in Beijing for today's ceremony.
Wouldn't it have just been easier to have scanned the pigeons, like with an X-ray, like an airport security scanner type thing?
So your suggestion is you scan 10,000 to 10,000 birds. Also,
what they did was have people. Okay, 10,000 fingers had to go inside 10,000 pigeons, Rob.
Yeah, but I mean, also you have to bear in mind, Alex, that the X-rays obviously emit radiation, and I don't know how much radiation a pigeon can take. You have to bear these things in mind. Many reports on the probe disappeared from the Chinese tightly controlled media after being published, though some articles and tweets remained online. The entire process was reportedly videotaped, which is now being sold at very...
There's a certain niche group of people out there who'd very much like to get their hands on that.
Yeah, absolutely. The reports did not clarify what suspicious objects the inspectors were looking for, but security concerns are high following a spate of attacks that Beijing has blamed on separatist groups. The Uyghurs, if I haven't pronounced that correctly, I apologise, a Muslim minority in the western province of Xinjiang, I think that's right, have long sought greater autonomy from China, which in turn has stepped up efforts to combat militants with raids and judicial crackdowns. A Trojan pigeon attack may sound far-fetched, but it's not impossible. According to pigeon experts, I've not heard of pigeons released at National Day requiring security checks, but it's possible for them to carry such things as explosives, reporting from a pigeon fan site, China Pigeon. China Pigeon Net told the New York Times. China Pigeon Net. Who is going on that website?
I am after this.
Yeah. They could carry something on their legs, under a wing, or in their anuses. What I love is the New York Times, which is obviously a very reputable publication,
It is, I read it.
China Pigeon Net for a comment.
Is this story from the New York Times?
No, but I'm guessing it must have been covered by the New York Times.
Oh, right, okay.
I have looked at the article. Yeah, it does. It is featured. The country is ramping up security ahead of today's celebrations, though some critics of China's sprawling government say the pigeon probe hits a little too close to home.
So this is just the first step in a slippery slope, is it, to this happening to Chinese citizens also?
It would, from that article, it would, yeah. They seem to go through the pains and sorts of rude anal checks. Yeah, I think they're suggesting that maybe this could happen to people.
Rob, I just have a comment to make after that story, reflecting upon it. In 1957, Rob, in China, in the political campaign for the People's Republic of China, one of the ideas, the very famous quotes that came out of that campaign to encourage greater freedom of intellectual expression between people, initiated by Chairman Mao, was the slogan, as I'm sure you've heard of, "Let 100 flowers bloom."
Yes.
Or "Let 100 flowers blossom." We can presumably update that now to "Let 10,000 pigeon anuses be searched."
Yes, I think that's fair.
So do I. Well, thank you, Khyber, for that story, Rob. Very strange story, but a cracking story nonetheless. Yeah, I have no idea. What was he searching for to come across that? I mean, the mind does boggle, Rob.
Personally,
right?
I think he was on China Pigeon Net.
I think Khyber might be more than he says he is, Rob.
A spy?
Yeah.
Right. Let's just carry on and say it.
No, I think Khyber might work for MI5 or GCHQ, something like that. Enjoys listening to this podcast, but has on tap all manner of stories, some of which he can tell us about and some of which he can never reveal to us.
Yeah, quite possibly, yeah.
So, Rob, we look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be episode 271, Rob, as we move ever more forward like... Rob, you want to take it? Like what?
Like a man who has just been robbed of his ice cream trade on an empty beach in the south of England, just like that.
We move ever more forward to our next episode, which will be episode 271, Rob. And all that remains really is to say that we can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. From there, you can download all previous 269 episodes, and when this one's out, 270 episodes, for free. And there is a donate button in the top right hand corner if you want to help us out. Set up a rolling donation like every month, or a one-time donation. That would really help us. We're on Twitter at LA Podcast, and we're on Facebook at facebook.com/LA Podcast. If you want to submit us a story, please do so. And you can tweet it to us or post it on Facebook, or do it the old-fashioned way. Just email us at lapodcast.net@gmail.com. That's lapodcast.net@gmail.com. And as I said last week, I'm putting out a petition now. Any international listeners listening, we miss your stories. We used to get stories from America, various other places. Send them in, because we want them. Because I do like our podcast, Rob, to have an international flavour. And we did via Khyber this week because we had a Chinese story. But I'd love somebody from China to send us a story. Even better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, pull your finger out and send us a story. Not a pigeon. Just send us a story. As we speak, I'm looking at a pigeon right now, Rob, in my parents' garden. And getting ideas, I'll be honest.
Well, that's an image to leave with the listeners.
Yeah, I can't play us a track from. Well, Rob, when are we? I don't know when we're next going to record, but presumably it's going to be after my one-man show at the Royal Albert Hall, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be actually. Yeah, it could well be.
So, do you want to wish me luck?
Nope.
Right. Thank you for listening, everybody. We will be back in about a week's time. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it a lot. We enjoy doing it, and we can't wait to be back with more local anesthetic for you next week. God bless.
And keep it local.